Hi, I'm here today with Jessica Ballantyne. Hi, Jessica. How are you?
Hi, Alicia. I'm good. How are you?
Very good. I'm super delighted to have Jessica in my Pink Sofa Conversations. It's my first chapter. We are in quarantine. Everyone's at home. We're struggling with a lot of pressure. We don't know what to do anymore. And we know that art is a big part of mental health and therapy and how we can help each other. So we've seen it with people offering classes and meditation and activities. And I've invited Jessica because I know her from a collective that I used to be part of, the Tunnel. And I love what she does. She's mainly traditionally a painter, and she has a very interesting views on the woman's body, femininity, equality, all those very, very hot topics. And it's very good to have you today. Thanks, Jessica, again.
Thanks for having me.
So, Jessica, in your paintings, you're mainly sometimes representing a lot of women. It's body shapes that you recognize. I think you're one of those artists that I look up and say that I have around me where I'm like, yeah, she's bold enough to represent things that are quite sexual. And I do love your palette. I think it's very strong colors that have a lot of connotations, and it really takes the viewer to a different world of almost sometimes even sensorial, kind of like having smoked something feeling. How did you get into this language and this way of communicating in your paintings?
Well, I think I've always had an interest in the mind and in using art as a way to kind of portray subjective experience and feeling. From when I was a kid, a teenager, I was always, my artworks were always about kind of my emotional response to the world, pretty much. So, and I've always kind of used quite surreal colors. I don't know if that's because, I was really, really super inspired by Salvador Dali as a kid.
Yes. Okay.
That's probably why I become so as well. The feminist artist then came later, which then inspired a totally different realm of my work. But yeah, in terms of subjectivity and the body, I've always kind of been interested in that. When I got to uni, I started, with my thesis. I had to write a thesis, and I did mine on the differences in how men and women portray themselves in art. And so I looked at the surrealist artists, and that's when I started to discover, these amazing female surrealist artists that I hadn't heard of before. And, they really just kind of blew my mind, and that's when my interest in feminism came about. And sexuality and subjectivity, and I think my art was a way for me to kind of explore these themes within myself as well, because as a young woman, early 20s, there was a lot of kind of
taboos, maybe things that you shouldn't be seeing or shouldn't be doing. This idea of taboo and what's accepted and what's not.
Yeah, also, the media and pornography was quite like a hot topic back then. How women were being portrayed in the media, and it was something that really struck a chord with me, especially the more I was researching about like feminism and people like Simone de Beauvoir, and she wrote The Sacred Sex. Just the kind of the hardship and the struggle that women went through in the past, in terms of just like a lack of autonomy and the way they were portrayed as kind of like a lack of subjectivity. They were shown as sex objects.
Like passive, no actions. And that's what happens to us when we study surrealism. All of us, we're discovering all these amazing women that you'd never heard of, because there's always this very dominant male names that are covering the whole movement.
Yeah. So people like Leonora Carrington and Leonora Feeney.
Yeah.
Who's the other one? Francesca Woodman, photographer. Sherman's quite a famous one.
Yes.
So all these kind of women were just really super inspiring, and gave me the kind of, well, I don't want to say balls, but gave me this kind of
the courage. The courage to go. Yeah, I always thought that your palette and the strong colors came from your background being South African, because I can imagine the light there being like the colors being really powerful.
It is, and also I remember as a kid they would take us on school trips to like these kind of indigenous Zulu tribes, and we'd stay over in these like mud huts and things like that, and we would do beading with them. And color is so important in that culture, and it's so symbolic as well. So definitely, and obviously the light is, it's just incredible, and the colors and the greenery and the flowers, everything is just super vibrant. So I think definitely that had an impact. But also, I wanted people to kind of feel, I wanted my bodies to be kind of unusual. I wanted them to be not real.
Yeah.
I wanted them to be kind of, because I distorted them a lot. So I not only distorted the actual body, but then I also wanted to distort the colors so that it's kind of like a more unusual kind of body.
Perspective of your experience. Now that you're saying the pornography connection, some of your paintings do have this very unusual angles when it comes to sex that you normally don't experience as when you do sex. Does it have to do a little bit with that, more input from this culture of watching pornography and having it accessible, and how media portrays sex? Is that what you wanted, with different points of view and perspective?
Yeah, I think I was very aware of this idea of objectification, but also self-objectification. So as women, because we're so used to seeing ourselves through other bodies, other female bodies, we're so used to seeing them as kind of sexual objects. And what happens is when we look at ourselves, or even sometimes when we're experiencing something kind of erotic or sexual, I used to get this experience where I would see myself in the third person.
Okay, yeah.
And I was experiencing things in the third person, which is kind of weird to imagine, but I'm sure we all felt that. And apparently it's more common in women than men. Also my figures, a lot of them, especially in that work, that older work, even in this work now actually, the eyes are usually confronting the viewer, they're looking straight at the viewer. Which is pretty much direct comment on these older images, all the paintings of women where they're kind of passive, their eyes are down, they're aware that you're looking at them and they're giving you permission, they're submissive.
Yeah.
Whereas I wanted my figures to be quite kind of this is I'm looking at you, looking at me. So in that way, I wanted them to be kind of confrontational, but also alluring, because I wanted viewers to feel this tension.
Yeah.
Especially in that older work, because I was a really kind of angry feminist in those days.
So when you talk about the viewer, and you don't have to only speak about your previous, series. You can also talk about what you're doing now. It's not, but what is the kind of experience that you are thinking, if you are thinking about an experience for your viewer, or you're just getting out whatever you want to express, and however your viewers perceive it, you're okay with it. That doesn't bother you, or are you really involved in what you want people to take away from your exhibitions and from your piece of work?
I'm very aware of the viewer. I want them to be involved in the work, especially with this new series, because it's so automatic, the process of creating them. I never know what they're going to look like. So the images are coming straight from my subconscious mind. When other people look at them, what I find so fascinating is that even though I've worked these inkpots and I've turned them into whatever I see, people will still see what they see, which might be completely different. Even though I've painted, say, for example, like an owl melting into a lion or whatever, that's what I've painted, but other people might see, a different animal or like something completely different. So, no, I'm very aware of the viewer, definitely, and I want them to be engaged. I want them to kind of be like, oh wow, I want them to be involved in the kind of decoding, if you like, of the artwork, and I'm really interested in seeing what people see, and I love to hear about it. So they might not be on my mind when I'm actually creating it, because it's more, that process is more for me. But definitely, it's in the back of my mind, maybe. And I love to kind of talk to people and ask them kind of what they see in the work, and what it means to them. I
think you really, your latest series, the one you're referring to, that are inspired kind of in like animals, they're really mesmerizing. There is a extreme elegant detail on things that I can imagine people really looking at them, spending time and getting like comfortable. It's something that you could really hang in your living room and look at it every day, and you will always discover something new. I guess that's also happening to you through the process when you're working on those pieces, no? That you're always discovering something.
Definitely. Like even they growing, and I think that's why I just enjoy this series so much, because well, one, I never know what it's going to look like. Two, like as I'm doing it, it's like revealing new things to me. That's quite interesting actually, looking into like the symbology of the animals and seeing like, oh, why am I seeing, jaguars the whole time? And you look at the meaning and it's like, oh, actually, it represents, courage or feminine power, or, so it's quite fun to kind of look into the symbology of the animals as well, which is a big part of the series actually.
Yeah, unconscious symbology kind of, yeah. And I mean, yeah. No, go for it, sorry.
I was going to speak about Carl Jung, the psychologist.
Yeah.
So he was very interested in kind of this idea of kind of symbology and, how things can have meaning that we weren't quite aware of before. So it's interesting.
And I see a very strong connection between the unconscious symbology and feminism, no? That's basically what we're fighting, or most of the women are fighting. And you were referring almost of the people, let's be fair, everyone is fighting. So sometimes is those invisible architectures, those understanding and assumptions that we have in our head, we don't know where they come from. It's a symbology, we have a preconception, boom, we come to conclusions. You said that at the beginning of your career as a painter, you were a little bit of an angry feminist. What happened? What made you so furious? If you want to share, of course.
I think it was when I was kind of studying feminism and writing about these women's experiences and what they went through. And that on top of pornography, like I just at that time of my life, it was kind of, I think I felt threatened by it. I don't know. It was like it felt like it was stripping women and therefore stripping me of my subjective reality, of my experience, of my voice.
Yeah.
So for me, going against that was gaining my voice, and showing people like actually like this is my experience, don't fuck with me kind of thing. But I think with these series it's a lot more gentle. I'm definitely not an angry feminist anymore, and I'm not like super anti-porn either. In fact, I've used porn quite a bit in some of my work, like my collages. But now, like what I'm focusing on is, instead of being angry about not having a voice, or women being stripped of the subjective experience, or equal rights and all that jazz, it's more about really looking at and researching and looking at women and goddesses and mythologies. Really show, back in the day, goddesses and women, they were like, they were really, really important in cultures. And most societies were like matriarchal societies. So I'm kind of focusing on like reviving those figures, and looking into mythology, looking into like really old poets like Sappho. Looking into the one I'm working on now is all about Inanna, and she's one of the earliest texts ever written, the earliest poem ever written was about this goddess Inanna. So I kind of feel that by using these kind of strong female tropes, these strong female characters and mythologies, I'm kind of bringing that strong feminine energy back into my work in a more positive way, I think.
Yeah. I guess that you're finding that in history you have very positive role models and examples where you're feeling, yeah, I'm being portrayed fairly, versus maybe the previous idea that we had of women are one thing or the other, and you felt like there was no in between. And I think we, all of us, even speaking up and sharing our stories, what we're trying to say is there's a lot of colors, there's a lot of grays, there's different stories, and the idea that there's other narrations, it makes you automatically less angry and like more curious to rediscover those and like reshape your story even.
And I think I also kind of grew up,
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you can only be angry for so long, and then you kind of, you get over it, or you realize, oh, actually, that was kind of silly, being angry. There's a lot more kind of, I mean, you can still be kind of ballsy, and you can still be bold and have a really strong feminist message in your work without being, super angry. You can just be smart about it and try not to, because what I also found was that some men that would look at my work would kind of get really, really uncomfortable.
Okay.
Kind of, at that stage of my life, I was like, yeah,
Winning. 1 point Jessica, 0 point men.
Yeah, but now I'm just like, I want everyone to enjoy this, feminine energy. Like, I want everyone to enjoy it, and I think it's part of everyone. Whether you're a man or woman, whatever, we're all kind of in it together. So, yeah, I just want to bring more joy and beauty, I guess.
Yeah.
But obviously, I also wanted to have a strong message as well.
Yeah. I, for example, find that in my own experience as a vegetarian, whenever I'm trying to make a point and I get too taken away by my own points as a vegetarian, I lose the audience. And this is not applicable to everyone. And, we all find our way, but I have the same that I could have in the past be a little bit more pushy and maybe angry in my way of putting across a point because I was so passionate about it. And now I've understood that actually calming down and taking things in a different perspective or bringing in the topics in a different angle allows you to reach more people and to really have a conversation in which you're including everyone and not excluding half of the population just because you think that patriarchy sucks, which we all know it sucks.
Yeah, it's not like, I never hated men.
Nah.
That wasn't really my deal. I just wanted to regain some control over my body.
Yeah, and I think that reflects a lot of experiences that a lot of women have, and I've had in the past many times. And I shared a story that I had like 2 weeks ago where someone grabbed me at 7 p.m. on the road, and I'm like, I feel so powerless. And it's this idea of you as an object, even nowadays, it's 2020, and you have those situations in your life that really make you be frustrated and you have this anger in you. And so a way to put it out for me was to write, for you was to paint, and now you're in a different moment in your life. And I guess that we can maybe say that even painting has helped you as a therapy. So what's your take on that? Because now with quarantine, everyone at home, we're sharing skills. There is something about painting that it's almost like meditation and connecting with your own soul. No, there's something magical about it.
Definitely, not even painting, any creative activity. I mean, some people get that same feeling, making little models. It's all about kind of getting out of your head and getting into the kind of zone, I guess. So definitely, I mean, for me, I couldn't live without it. I would actually go insane. I get really depressed when I don't make work.
Yeah.
So for me, it's definitely a kind of a therapy, a release, 100%. And that's another reason why doing things like this and especially now during this time where everyone's kind of stuck at home and some people are alone and then some people are bored. So I think, doing something creative, maybe getting in a group of friends and doing it, I think is really, really important
Yeah.
for everyone all the time, but especially now, I think it's really important.
Yeah. I have Airbnb experiences and I teach some people sometimes to draw, and most of my clients are actually people that have never done anything creative. And there is this common thing that everyone is saying, I am so bad at it, I'm not creative. And I always quote this lovely quote from Pablo Picasso that says, you know, we all knew how to draw and then we unlearned it with time as a child. No, this comparison of how we, through education, kind of actually get uneducated in certain aspects. What do you take as a teacher on this quote and on this experience?
I get that a lot from my students where they just say, oh, I can't do it, you know, I can't draw, you know, and I'm like, well, can you put the pencil on the paper? Yeah, well, then you can draw.
Yeah.
Everyone can draw. It's not about what it looks like, and that's what I always try and, you know, reiterate with them. It's got, like, I'm not interested in the finished product. I'm interested in your process. I'm interested in, you know, how involved in the process you are. And the less you think about what you're doing, the better your work is anyway, the better your drawing is. So what I like to teach my students is from a book actually. It's called Drawing from the Left, no, Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain, or Drawing from the Right Side of the Brain. And it's quite an old book. And that's got these kind of exercises that you can do, which actually kind of force people to get out of their head. You know, it can be something simple, like instead of drawing, so say for example, you're copying this owl. So instead of just sitting like this and copying it like that, I get them to turn it upside down, for example. So that's one way of just kind of, you know, tricking your mind, or just like, you know, not only flipping it upside down, but maybe just doing a little section at a time. So that's one thing. Drawing with your other hand, so drawing with your left hand if you're right-handed. Blind drawing, so like not looking at the page at all, only looking at your object. So it's different techniques to kind of not only teach people how to actually look properly, because we've forgotten how to look.
Very much indeed, yeah.
We think we know what we're drawing, right? So if you tell someone to draw the cup, they will draw the cup that's in their mind. They won't actually draw this cup that they've seen. So it's getting people to switch from drawing what they think they see to draw it to actually really looking, because people don't really look anymore. So I find that once they get into that, then they just, you know, not only do they improve in their drawing skills, but they have a really good time. You know, they're in the zone and they're not thinking.
I love what you said about people draw what they think they are seeing, because we're not looking anymore, and that has a lot to do also with unconsciousness and this idea of what we are and what we know. That I just had a student right now, we were doing on Skype some illustrations, and I was saying to her, don't think of what you think you know, because you're representing yourself like you see yourself, but you're not looking at the mirror. So take the mirror again. How is your eyes? How are your eyes or your lips? And really force yourself to say, I'm not going to draw what I think I am. I'm going to draw what I'm seeing.
Yeah. So a good exercise is getting them to draw someone from memory, right? And then draw their own face, but looking in a mirror. And the drawings will look the same. Like they'll draw the eye like in a certain way.
Yeah.
Or they'll draw the lips in a certain way. And that's because they're drawing from like their memory basically all the time. They're not actually looking. The mirror, for example.
Yeah. I love this idea of you being a lot of focus with your students in the process. I think it's very important that we understand us when we study, or even in life, that the process is what matters. The result doesn't really always count. We can try to do a podcast, try to do a video series. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't matter. But you've tried, you've learned through the process. And that's very therapeutical. How do you help your students to really relax and let go and accept the fact that they may fail? There has to be an acceptance of failure.
I don't mention it to them.
You just don't talk about the topic.
Yeah, I just, I don't go there. A lot of my learners are neurodiverse.
Okay.
So lots of different kinds of things. I just try to get them as engaged as possible.
Okay.
having the most fun as well. That's so important, because if you're having fun and you don't really care, like, you know, what the results are. And actually, there's a study done. The more fun you're having, the more productive you are.
Yeah, that's so true.
Creating new ideas. So it's really good to have fun. So I try and incorporate lots of kind of group work and things like that.
And you're so right. We know from even from an HR point of view, which is my background, that in cultures where failure is accepted, it's not because you're talking about failing all the time. It's because failure is accepted, which means if someone makes a mistake, it doesn't matter. You keep on going. You're not flagging it. You're not pointing it out in class saying, how bad did this person do? How horrible did you draw? So it's about making failure part of normal, right? Yeah. That failure has to be part of the normal of life, of evolution, of process of learning.
Yeah. I think with art, I don't know, art is a tricky one. It's not like other subjects. I don't think that, well, like we said, it's the journey that counts, right? It's not the end result. So I'm not really interested really in the end results. But that could also be, I don't know, maybe it's different for higher levels, but I think even if I was teaching, and I have taught higher levels, it's still, to me, it's still about the journey. Like, how did you get from this idea? I'm more interested in how their idea develops over time.
Yeah.
And you will naturally improve, like, the more you do something, right? So, yeah.
How had it helped you to be with these kids, that they have a story, they're with you because there is something, that there is a story, there is some, let's say they are not considered the average student, right? Because you said they have some learning difficulties. How have they helped you with your own mental health? Because it's a topic that we all struggle most of the time. So I'm sure you've learned a lot from being surrounded by them and seeing how they approach things in life.
It's a huge learning curve. I mean, it's a mixed group, so they're not all neurodiverse students, and they're not. I mean, most of them are high functioning. You know, they're not like in wheelchairs. They're not in continuous care. We do have support staff in the classroom, but no, I love them. In fact, they wanted me to work at a higher level, and I said, you know, I'd love to just continue working with this group, because they're just a lot of fun, and they laugh at my jokes.
Your jokes are really good.
You know, they just have a laugh with me, and you know, we have fun together. It's not always fun. I mean, sometimes I get some really, really difficult students. So I had to, throughout my career, do a lot of research into behavioral management, you know, child psychology, even things like that. So it's all about, because every child is different, right? So it's about finding out what makes them tick. So having a conversation with them, and just making sure that, you know, their basic needs in the classroom are met first. So if a learner is autistic, for example, or if a learner has Asperger's, and they get really freaked out when there's a lot of noise, I try and move them to a quieter place, for example. It can be something really simple like that. But yeah, it hasn't always been a walk in the park, but I think the more experience I get with them, the easier it becomes, because I just have more kind of tools in my box. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think your motivation, your background as a lady that kicks back and, you know, understands the world as maybe an unfair world, also helps, you know, your approach to understanding their unique circumstances and their way of perceiving the world, and how you can enable them in a safe space, which should be a classroom always, to be their best version and to really grow in their potential. How is it now that we are in quarantine? You were telling me you're setting up something online. Can you tell us something about those virtual classes that you're giving?
Well, I haven't started yet. So basically we've had to move all our classes online, so I'm not quite sure exactly how that's going to work, especially with my neurodiverse learners, and even, you know, ones with, you know, ADHD and simple things like that. It's very difficult to kind of tie them down.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So I think it's going to be challenging, but I'm quite excited. I think it's, it's a new experience for everyone.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really good opportunity to embrace it and, try and stay positive and, see the good things in it. Like I can wear my PJ bottoms, for example.
Only for bottoms though. But that's again what you were saying about enjoying the process. It's a new circumstance, new context. You enjoy the process. Whatever you do, you will do it always with the best of your intentions, and you will learn. And probably if we catch up again in like a month, you'll be like, no, now I've cracked the code. Now I know how to do a virtual class for sure.
Yeah, you gotta make the best of it, don't you?
Yeah.
You can't, there's no point in learning about it. We're in quite a good situation compared to a lot of other people. So, yeah, we've got a lot to be grateful for, don't we, really?
Yeah, very true. So, Jessica, to finish up, what are your coming projects? You were talking to me about your website. We will add it on the link so people can download your poems and your drawings. But tell us a little bit about your coming projects and what you have in the calendar.
Well, I was actually going to do a Kickstarter campaign this month, but I think with all this stuff going on, I'm going to postpone it. But that will all have to do with the series I'm working on now, which is called Animal in You. And so these are basically ink blots that I'm creating, which I then give or show someone, ask them what they see in it. So instead of me looking at my ink blots and creating what I see, I'm going to try and involve other people in the process. So I'll show them an ink blot, ask them what they see, and then I'll try and bring out their kind of vision of what they see.
That's amazing. So it's super, super interactive. So it's almost the input from the other person is going to create your piece of art with your hand and you write. Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then I want to go a little bit step further with it and really look at the images that they're seeing. I want to give them like a fun, like little, maybe a reading to do with like animal guys, because I've been researching a lot about animal symbology.
Yeah.
And as humans, we've got this really powerful link to animals.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of bringing that into it as well, and maybe giving them like a little kind of reading on or the meaning behind the animals that they've chosen and what meaning they could have in their lives as well. So that's the one project. On my more personal side, I'm doing a series of quite large circular paintings.
Yeah.
Still using the ink blots, but these ones will focus more on kind of mythology and women in mythology. Still big on the animal theme, so there'll be a lot of animals in there, but I'm combining the figure with the female figure with sensuality and that kind of thing.
And what people can download on your website, because you were explaining it to me before?
Okay, yeah, so on my website I've got it's from a previous series, so it's a book of drawings called Sacred Nude, and so these are all based on a female figure, but they're also quite surreal. And then alongside the drawings, I've got some amazing poetry by the most beautiful poet, Francesca Simonielli. So she's helped me from America, actually. I think I met her before. We've collaborated completely online, and she created these beautiful poems to go alongside the drawings. So on our website, you can get that book for free as a PDF. So yeah, quite excited about that.
Yeah, so we're gonna add your Instagram so people can follow you on social media, because you're gonna have a lot of different like draws and giveaways and activities and hopefully exhibitions, because you're part of different collectives and groups, so there's always something coming up. Jessica, thank you so much for your time. It's great to chat. It's fantastic that you've, being my first guest in this little idea that we tried to build up. It's really exciting to be able to speak to you. Thank you for your time, and I just, wish you the best. And I think what you're doing now is super exciting, so I can only wait to see what's next.
Yes, thank you. It was really cool.
You're welcome.